My favorite crazy thing is the I'll 10x your revenue. Hey, you don't even know what my revenue is. How can you guarantee you're gonna 10x? Not 9, not 11, but 10x it? Really?
If you've been online lately, you've probably heard that running a business is super easy and anyone can do it. Well, that's complete nonsense. We're here to share with you the real world of entrepreneurship. Welcome to I Can't Hustle Any Harder Than This. Hello, and welcome to the I Can't Hustle Any Harder Than This podcast. I'm Rachel, and I'm here with my co host,
Emily. Hello.
And today we have a very special guest. It is Anna, who I met on Substack, I think is where we started talking. Yeah. And I'm going to let her do a little intro about herself. But the reason I wanted her to come on is because she's a business coach. But here's the key for me is that she's had 4 successful businesses. So she's not just coaching coaches to coach coaches about coaching, but she's actually done the thing and she can tell us about the thing and how she's coaching about said thing. So, Anna, thanks for being here. And tell me how to pronounce your last name because I don't want to mess it up.
Ludwinowski.
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 Got it. Cool.
I
So,
love
Anna,
that
tell us.
intro. That's like the best
Thanks. I
intro I've
just
ever
improvised.
had.
I just improvised, honestly. Like, I'm just better off the cuff. Like, I have things written down, but I can't.
Well, you know it because you introduced her perfectly.
Yeah,
It
wonderful.
sounds, hearing from Rachel about who you are, sounds like you nailed it.
Anna, tell us about yourself. And I really want to emphasize, I love on your site, you say at the top, a lot of coaches have certifications, but what they don't have is actual experience running a business. Yes.
How many
Yes.
times have I seen that, right? Like that
All the
that
time.
happen all the time, and I'm like, "Okay, how does that work exactly?" Like, and not to take away from anybody who has certifications. Like, I think that's cool. That's great. You obviously know the book end of everything. But like until you've actually kind of been in the trenches and done it, how do you speak from experience, right? How do you say, "Hey, I've been there, done that. I know exactly what you're going through," right? So I kind of think that's sort of my secret sauce, if you can call it that. I don't know. Yeah, or businesses totally unrelated, which is kind of cool. So it gives me a broad spectrum of experience. But I think honestly, the other three, so the fourth one is now this coaching business. I think the other three were just like warm ups for this final act. I really do. It just,
Interesting. Your other businesses, you had event decor, a packaging company, and a boutique fitness studio.
yeah, totally unrelated. But I think I've been
Yeah.
coaching all the way along, like unofficially, right?
Uh-huh.
When you're dealing with events and weddings and all that kind of stuff, you're basically coaching them in how to have this amazing event, right? And then with our packaging company, we worked with a lot of small, medium-sized businesses in helping them get their products to market, um, you know, from their branding for their retail stores, stuff like that. And then even in the fitness studio, you're basically coaching people, obviously physically, but also emotionally, because this was for women. And these were women who had always put themselves last, put the family first, right? And they kind of let themselves um, just I don't want to say not care about themselves because obviously they cared, but they just literally put themselves last. And it was kind of like coaching them to empower them. Like, no, you need to do what's good for you, right? You got to fill your own
She would
cup.
love Mindy McHale. Anna, you'll have to check out our episode. We did an interview with Mindy McHale, who owns a fitness studio here in Pittsburgh, where we are, and she's my personal trainer, and she coaches primarily women, and I think has a very similar
Yeah.
coaching goal that you had.
We'll do a reunion episode.
A reunion episode.
Next season, we'll bring them both back.
Everybody, we'll have one big Zoom room.
I'd love a Cliff's Notes of the businesses that you had, just because it's interesting that they're different, and so kind of how you got into that.
They are, yeah. Well, the decor business, actually, I kind of stumbled into that. I always love that kind of, just making something special, like taking it that next notch. And I was getting married. So this business started 2 years before I got married, and so it kind of evolved just because I'm like, "Yeah, I like this. Let's see if I can do this for other people." And it did really well until, you kind of burn out because it's like every weekend, all during the week, like there's no end to it, right? So after a few years, I kind of moved on. And then my husband and I started the packaging company, which we still actually have. So it's been over 30 years that we've had that business.
Wow.
And that was really fun because we literally took it from a basement home, like in our home that we started, and we eventually grew it to 15 employees, over 2 million in sales in top
Hmm.
years. So, I mean, we grew it, like, it was quite an adventure. I think that was the biggest one we did. Um, and then the fitness studio, I was actually a client there, and I got the email that it was closing, and I went, "Oh my gosh, what am I gonna do?" And I had a conversation with the, owner, and I said, "So who are you looking for as a purchaser?" And she literally described me, unbeknownst to her, she didn't know anything about me, and I'm like, "That's me." So I'm like, "Hey," and hop, skip, and a jump, I bought that business. And I was really excited, and it was doing really well until COVID hit. So
Mm.
here in Vancouver, Canada, we were mandated closed 7 different times, which made it really hard to grow a business. We obviously didn't charge our clients. You can't if they can't get in. But we still continued to pay our trainers because that was their only income, right? So, but once we made it through, I was like, okay, we got through COVID, we can do this. And then our lease came up for renewal and we got hit with a 30% increase, which I'm like,
Wow.
okay, 30% in a good year is going to be almost impossible. Coming out of COVID, that's a no win. Um, so I had to close it. And it was like a death. I've never had to do that before. And like, to be really honest, like 6 months of some deep soul searching, like, what could I have done better? How could I have made this work?
You could have prevented COVID.
Yeah.
That would have been great.
You know what it is though? Like your mind understood that, but in your heart,
Yes.
like, what the heck could I have done more? Right.
Yeah.
But honestly, it took someone to point out to me if that hadn't happened, I wouldn't be doing this right now. I wouldn't be here right now. And I kind of went, oh, that's deep.
Yeah, so that led
That's
you to coaching. You sounds like you kinda realized, "This is what I've been doing the whole time, I just haven't formalized a process for helping people."
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And this is the part that I love the most, being able to share something with someone that you kind of take as a second nature, right? And watching them go like, you just like blew my mind. This is so great. And you're like, what? Like it does almost as much for me as it does for them. Right. So I
Yeah.
love it. This is
that's
what I was
awesome.
supposed to do.
Cool.
What's, like, one of your biggest coaching wins, like, something that you told somebody where they were like, "Whoa," is there something that comes to the mind?
Yes. Oh my gosh. I had this lovely, lovely lady. She's a coach and she calls herself a transformation coach, but really she helps people with grief, like how to overcome grief and situations like that. And she's for 7 years, she struggled with her business. And she'd always had business, but it wasn't like a lot. And she kind of felt like it
Mhm.
was sort of churning along. And we had one of our sessions and we talked about our ideal client. And she's like, "Yeah, that's the part I've struggled with because the gurus tell you you can only have one ideal client." I'm like, "No, I don't subscribe to that. You can be talking to more than one ideal client," which was
Yeah.
absolutely true in her case. So after our 90-minute session, she walked out with 3 ideal client profiles, and she was like, "You just saved me 7 years of grief." Like, that just like,
Oh,
I
wow.
was like, "What?" Like, that was Wow, that was probably one of the I mean, there's been others, but that was one that I was like, for 7 years, she kept struggling with this, and in 90 minutes, we were able to solve it. Like, that's pretty heartwarming,
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah. That makes sense too. Like different what one person can bring isn't going to be like one to one. Like it's all situational. It's all
Yeah, it's very
yeah.
rare that it's going to be you can only really focus on one person, and that's the other word. I hate the word niche, right? If you
Mm.
can niche yourself into a corner where you can't help anybody, right? It's like, no, I prefer to use the word focus. Who do you want to primarily focus on? Okay, I primarily focus on solopreneurs, right? But whether they're in this service industry or that service industry, it's all the basics, right? That part doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
And that's where I think we get hung up on ourselves, right? We gotta have that one magical client profile.
There was somebody recently on one of the subreddits I follow, like a business subreddit, and you see people on there all the time, and they're asking a ridiculous question, which is, "What I want to start a business. What kind of business do I start?" And I'm like, You need to have a passion about something to start a business in it. Like, you can't just open." And somebody wrote, I the business idea that I've been working on and that my business is luxury picnics, but I have not had any clients. And I'm like, but they niche themselves into a corner. Like,
Sure.
that is a niche on a niche on a niche. And my, advice in writing in this subreddit back to them was like, why don't you do events? If you like planning this type of thing, why not open up your niche a little bit and do like event planning? Because being like, I do luxury picnics, I think they were in like Virginia. If you were in Florida doing luxury picnics, I'd be like, okay, other than hurricane season, maybe that could work. But
Mhm.
like Virginia, I mean, they have seasons. Like, it does get cold. It doesn't, it does get
Yeah.
cold there. Like, it does get really hot there. I mean, like, it's not always like picnic season.
Yeah.
No, and that's kind of an odd I mean, it's a great idea, I love the
Yeah,
concept,
it's odd. Yeah.
but it's odd in who's that for?
Who's that
Right.
for? Well, that was the other point,
Right.
was like, who the heck is that? Who's that for?
Uh,
CEOs that forgot their anniversary and they're, last minuting and they need a great idea and you pull this out of a hat?
Also, I
right.
hate eating outside. I hate eating outside.
I guess you're not the client then,
It ain't
Rach.
me. Wait, do you like to eat outside?
I mean, if it was a cool event, maybe, but yeah, it's not something you're doing. Well, I
No.
have the Wednesday picnic and the Thursday picnic. Like, yeah, niche yourself into a corner.
I well, my schedule's all booked up with luxury picnics this week. Yeah, like, I hate eating outside because there's always bugs. There's, like, the wind's blowing your napkin. I don't wanna sit on
Oh
the
yeah,
ground. My napkin's flying everywhere.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. That's really neither here nor there, but the point is they just they niched too hard. So you probably hear, Anna, a lot of kind of like secondhand, you probably hear like bad coaching advice. So what's some other like terrible coaching advice that you've heard where you're like, "Oh my god, why is that out there?"
Crazy, like and it's like I mean, there's a lot of crazy stuff and all kinds of things, but, what my favorite crazy thing is the I'll 10x your revenue. Hey, you don't even know what my revenue is. How can you guarantee you're gonna 10x? Not 9, not 11, but 10x it? Really? Like, come on, that's just such like a bro move. I can't even. Like, that just drives me nuts.
"I'm gonna take you to 8 figures." And it's like, but it is like, if a coach is saying, "I'm gonna do this," you feel like they need to know where the person is starting, right? And so I see these horror stories on YouTube and everywhere else where a coach has promised something to somebody like, "I'm gonna 10x your revenue," but they promise it to everybody and they don't know where the person is starting from.
And you have no idea what that person's expertise level is or what their work ethic is, right? Like, if this person's sort of already kinda half-assing it, like, how are you gonna work with them for the next 5 years to get them to the 10x? Like,
Right.
no, it just yeah, it's just such a random promise that it's you can't fulfill it. It's just not realistic, right?
So, so in addition to, that tagline of you've worked, like what is your approach as far as like what you're telling your clients, this is what I'm providing that other people aren't, other than experience?
Yeah. Well, so I kind of came across this when I first started coaching. I thought, okay, well, I'll help people scale their businesses because that's what I did. I understood the concept. I'd done there what the pitfalls were and stuff like that. But the more people I started talking to about scaling, the more you realize they don't, they can't scale and they're not able to scale because they don't have the foundation created. So then I was like, okay, I'm kind of like spinning my wheels here, right? And it goes back to this lane 10xing thing, right? You can't help scale if they haven't created the foundation. So after about 8, 10 months or so, I kind of shifted my model to do the foundation. So I call it foundational clarity, right? When you're clear on who you serve, what your position is, what your offers are, what your pricing is, what your messaging is, once that's all taken care of, like, yeah, you can keep growing. You can do whatever, right? That gets easier. Um, so that's really the foundation. It's not exciting. It's not sexy by any stretch. It's it's kind of like kindergarten again, right? But if you don't have that part, it's not going to grow. So it's like the basement. It's the foundation of your house. If that's all rickety and crappy, how's the stability of the house going to be, right? Same thing with your business.
On your site, you say, "You're not broken, your business is just wobbly."
Oh, I love that.
Isn't that cute?
Yeah, that sounds like a fantastic approach that people like you guys are talking about, the folks who are promising X, Y, and Z aren't considering. And so that authenticity, as somebody not in the business
Mhm.
world, seems like something I would want versus like, yeah, false
It's
promises.
but it's wild that, like, Anna ha like, one of the things that distinguishes her from other coaches is that she's done the thing. Like, it's crazy to me that
Mhm.
like, that's like, the
Yeah.
bar is so low. It's like, that somebody's actually had a business and isn't just coaching coaches to coach based on learning from other coaches.
Right.
Like, but that's what I look for. Like, the times that I've had a business coach is someone I wanna find somebody who's actually done the thing and had a successful business and isn't just, like, waking up one morning like, "You know what I wanna do? I wanna tell people how to have a business."
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Or like a career coach. I'm sorry, I know some really great career coaches, but it's the same thing. They're a career coach, but they've never been in HR or anything like that. And so, yes, that's someone who woke up and went, "I'm gonna help people find jobs." That's great. Well, that's awesome, but why? How? Like that's
Yes.
a bit of a leap there, right?
Yes, yes. I know, unfortunately, a lot of people who are like, I'm this type of coach." It's like, "Yeah, but you did that thing one time or never did that
Mm.
or never did that thing."
Well, I'm curious how, getting clients then kind of looks for you into this day and age and all that.
Well, yeah, I mean, sometimes that can be challenging because you get lumped into the 10 billion business coaches on LinkedIn, right? Which is where I
Yeah.
primarily live. But I mean, there were like a dime a dozen. And that's partly why I made the distinction to call myself a business clarity coach. For the most part, people are like, oh, what is that about? And so, create some interest so that you can at least engage in a conversation with them, but it does distinguish me because I do focus on that foundational part. Can I help you scale? Yeah, for sure I can. But but until we've got this core part done, that's the difference. So yeah, I primarily live on LinkedIn.
Mhm.
Um, and I think you have to really establish yourself on there. You have to create that, I know they, establish your authority, be a thought leader, all these kind of, trendy terms, but
Well,
you have to show them what you know, right? And so I use case studies from actual people that I've worked with. I have testimonials from real people, not SH, the initials or something. It's
Oh
like, no,
oh my
these
god, I
real
have to
people.
I have to tell you guys about this company who wanted to do like a referral thing with us. We were looking at their website and like on this guy's company's blog, they have like, oh, the case studies, right? But the case studies are things like our clients have gotten this. One of our clients, da 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 da. I'm like, are you who?
Wow.
Who are these people? Like anybody can
Sure.
say that.
It's like a person's cat. And they're like, you're going to have a business today, kitty. Do-do-do-do-do. Our clients are doing great.
yeah.
That drives me. Okay, so that's another pet peeve. Okay, I got to talk about that one too, right? Like,
Yes.
I made 8 figures last year. Oh, well, I made 12 figures. So there you go. Like,
yeah.
right?
Right.
Clients that paid you $100,000? Like,
That's
or
a
did you
great
have
point.
1,000 clients that paid you $1,000? Whatever, right? Like,
But it's never clear. It's never clear and
Right.
it's purposefully not clear because I feel like people just are constantly like obscuring the obfuscating, they're obscuring the truth
Right.
in their marketing.
And as somebody who would be looking for somebody, looking for the match of a coach, it's like being able to understand like this is what I need versus I have no idea what I need, or foundation piece sounds good.
that's why we'll do an onboarding call or or discovery call. Sorry, where maybe I'm not the right fit for you. Luckily, I have a great network of other business coaches. We all have our niche. Oh God, there's that word. That focus. That if I'm not the right fit, maybe one of these other people are, and I'm super happy to refer you to somebody else. Because if you're not going to get what you need out of me, then
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and just take your money. That's
I was going to say,
That's
do
great.
you weed people out? And it sounds like you do. But a lot of coaches don't. A lot of coaches don't. And, we're going to have Danielle Ryan on this podcast. And I was just watching one of her YouTube videos and she talks about like a coach like this, where there's a horror story. This woman writes in and is like, this woman took my money. She took like 10 grand of my money and kept promising things. And she should have known I wasn't the right fit based on our discovery call. But she just kept promising, no, I can help you. No, I can help you. No, I can help you. And she couldn't, but this coach just took her client's money, even though she really should have known the entire time, like this wasn't a
Right.
fit.
there's going to be one, and I had one lady earlier this year. She got taken for $5,000, which that's still a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, for sure.
return her calls, literally, and all it turned out to be was, here's the email with all the information. Basically, it was like a self-guided course, not what was advertised, and
Oh.
wasn't able to connect with her after that. She just sent her the stuff, and that was it. And
Wow.
I'm like, okay, that's someone who
Such a
should be
bummer.
reported because that's
It-
false advertising. But
Yes.
but luckily we were able to work together. And I mean, I felt bad, but then at the same time, like, I gotta charge you what I charge you,
Right, I
right? Like,
know.
but I did make sure we were all, she was a really good fit and we did work through it. But yeah, I've talked to people out of even going into entrepreneurship because it wasn't the right fit for them. I'm not gonna just take your money. That just doesn't sit right.
Ugh.
Do you have other coaches that refer to you when they don't fit?
Because it works both ways. Especially somebody who where I've seen them most often, where I'll refer someone is after I've worked with them and they're ready to either go into franchising or expanding to multiple locations or something like that. I can do that. That's not where my real expertise lies. And so I will move them over into someone else who can help them with that part. So yeah, no, I think there's enough to go around for everybody, right? So why not help each other out?
Have you run into situations where somebody comes to you and they're like, Anna, I want to coach. I've never run a business before, but I want to coach people about running a business. Like, what would you say to them?
They want to actually coach somebody?
They want to coach. Like, I've never run a business, but I want to coach people about running a business. Like, they're like, I want to be you, Anna. I want to do what you do,
Right.
but I've never done anything to like build myself to that. Like, what do you do?
No.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't. I mean, but find where your expertise lies, right? Like maybe maybe your expertise is in a part of that, right? It's not the whole thing. Maybe you're really great at, I don't know, like copywriting or so, I don't know, whatever it is, or websites or branding or, something like that. Find where your expertise lies. Don't try to be something that you're not, I don't want to say qualified for, but that's just not where your zone of genius is, right?
And that's great advice for anyone who is listening or watching, who is interested in this. Like you just got some free advice to start more specialized. That's great.
Yeah, you gotta do something you've experienced. And I have people who come to me and they're like, Rachel, I want to do what you do. I want to be a dementia consultant, but they're like still in college. I'm like, that's great. Work towards it, like get that
Unethical.
degree, but please like work as a dementia care director first. Like I worked in 3 different buildings. My first book was coming out, like I didn't just wake up one morning and be like, I want to be a dementia consultant. Like one does not simply, start a business without having done a thing.
Yeah, you
Yes.
Mhm.
way, so build towards it,
Yes.
absolutely,
Yeah.
and it has to be something that lights you up, right? You can't just look at
Yes.
someone else and be like, "I want what they have." Well, yeah, but does that actually light you up? I
Right.
I
Right.
actually talked a lady out of becoming, opening her own bakery because she loved to bake at home for family and friends. You know what happens? Everybody's like, "Oh, you should open a bakery. You should open a bakery. This is great." So she's like, "Oh, I should open a bakery." Okay, she hates waking up early in the morning. She doesn't like telling people what to do. She doesn't wanna lock herself into a 5-year lease in case she changes her mind. I'm like,
Oh no.
Wow.
um okay, so none of that's gonna light you up. How about you stick to what you're already doing, which does light you up, right? And
Mhm.
so you kinda have to really think about what works for you, right? Don't do something that doesn't work for you.
I'm glad you talked her out of it. Because I feel
Yeah.
like a lot of coaches don't do that. They're just like,
Mhm.
keep
Give me the
give me that
cash.
Well,
cash.
she was surprised. She's like, "Why are you talking me out of giving you money?"
Because you have ethics.
You're
Yeah.
just not
Yeah.
gonna do well and you're gonna hate it. So she came back, oh, probably about 6 months later, and she's like, "Thank you. That was the right fault."
That's awesome.
Like, "Okay."
That's great.
That's great.
What you've seen like everything, I feel like at this point, probably with the coaching stuff. What's like the anatomy of a coaching scam? Like, how do people who shouldn't be coaching hook other people? Like, is it just those crazy promises? I'm going to 10x your business. I'm going to blah, 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 blah. I'm going to get you
Right.
to 8 figures without knowing any, like, how do these people get clients? How do these people get hook people?
You know what? I mean, I think that's a big part of it, and so naturally you think, "Oh, well, this person knows, so I'm gonna go with them," right? Because
Mm.
like, who wouldn't wanna 10x their business, I guess, if you didn't really know? But I think they do, they prey on people that aren't knowledgeable, but aren't aware of this being a scam, right? Like,
Yeah.
Right.
they're keen, they're hungry, "Okay, you're gonna help me? This is great, I'll go with you." Um, and and I think at that point, it becomes manipulation, right? You're not
Yes.
empowering people, you're manipulating them, right? "Oh, you better sign right now because this thing's gonna evaporate in 10 seconds," and they prey upon them. It was the same thing in the fitness industry, right? You know, that January, new body, new you, new year. There's something wrong with the old body. Get a new body.
Go out and buy
Yeah.
a new body.
Got the image of the person with the six pack, and you're like, "That's not gonna happen in 4 weeks." Like, that might not even happen in 4
No.
years. Like, let's get real, right?
Right.
And that would drive me nuts, but that's what they're doing is they're preying upon your vulnerabilities, right?
I I convinced my mom to get me an ab flex. I was probably like 15.
Wait, I don't
What
even
an
know
ab
this
flex
story. Tell
is.
me about this.
I mean,
What is
that's the
this?
story. I saw
Did you see a
commercials
commercial?
for like ab flex machines, and I was like, "That's the key. I'm a chubby little kid, and I need an ab flex." God
You were like
bless her, and she was
14,
like,
you
"I
said?
guess if I had to." I was really young.
And you were
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna did you use it?
I mean, not a lot, not a lot. But so I hope everyone listening learns from my ab flex mistake.
So you're saying they should get an ab flex.
No. I actually have stock in ab flex. Just kidding. Just kidding.
I have like a million of them in the
Um,
basement.
Well, that was a question too, though, is like, so on the other side, if I'm a person, I'm looking for a coach, like what should I look for? How do I vet a person? Like,
Yeah, I would honestly look at the testimonials, verify that these are real people, and you can even reach out to them. I've had people reach out to people that are listed on testimonials on my LinkedIn, for example. And I mean, those are real clients that have had really
yeah,
good
Yeah.
I don't put words in their mouth. Those are their words.
yeah.
So like reach out to them and say, "Hey, what was your experience with this coach? Did they do what they say they were gonna provide, and stuff like that." So you gotta do a little bit of homework. I think that is probably my best piece of advice on that one.
What are, some rules that you feel like ethical coaches should follow? Probably most notably, weeding out people who are not appropriate for their coaching.
Yeah, oh gosh. Yeah, I think that's kind of a given. Be transparent. I think that's probably a really good one. Like, what are they actually going to get?
Mm.
Not so much, okay, you're getting 6 calls and email support and like, okay, that's fine. Obviously, you have to include that. But what should they get at this time working with you? Are they gonna have clarity on their ideal client? Are they gonna have some epic transformation in terms of their ability to deal with grief or, whatever the situation is
Yeah.
is you have to tell what are they actually going to get out of this, right? It's not just, "Oh, you're gonna spend 6 weeks with me and we're gonna talk 12 times and that's it." Okay, well, that's great, but what did you get out of that, right? I
Mhm.
think that's probably an important piece.
And do you think you should like compare? Like, I'm going to quote these three coach. You know what I mean? Like, should I be talking to a few? Maybe.
You'll be talking to multiple coaches. The problem is a lot of these things are expensive.
Well, do you have free consultations typically or no? Okay. So that's what I'm thinking.
Always free, yeah. Because I
Yeah.
think at that point, you've got a good vibe with somebody, right? Like,
Yes.
if you're not vibing with them, or you could have really put stock into what they're telling you, right? Like, or if you don't agree with their outlook or their style, or it just
Yep.
doesn't mesh with yours, it's gonna be pretty hard to work together over a period of time, right?
For sure.
I love this topic. And I feel like we could talk about this. I mean, we do talk about this is what we talk about on the podcast, but I feel like specifically, I love that we're talking to a coach who's an ethical coach who can speak to the unethical things in the coaching industry. And most notably for me, like the reason we started talking at all to Anna was she has coaching actual like experience doing business, in business, running businesses. It's wild that that is like a big distinction. Like people are like just going into coaching with no actual experience doing a thing.
Right.
It's I know, and I don't know why that is. Like, I don't quite understand.
Is it just delusion? I do wonder this a lot. It's like for me, that would feel really gross. Like I would feel really bad about myself because I would know that I was being fake, and it's hard for
Sure.
me to. I don't really have that ability.
I I assume that the saturation of it, or like it would be the ease with which you could present yourself in that way, right? So the growth of social media and LinkedIn and things of that nature. I don't know if we asked when you started coaching, and I missed it because I haven't had my coffee. Yeah, 3 years. So within that time, I mean, you're seeing that approach. I'm just curious how people got clients before, and then yeah, now.
It's pretty easy, right? I mean, you call yourself a coach, get yourself a nice LinkedIn profile and pop your uncle. I mean, like, I guess, the barrier to entry is pretty low, right?
Clearly, yeah.
And so I think
Yeah,
probably there's people that look and they go, "Oh my god, they're charging $10,000 just to tell people what to do. Well, I can do that." Well,
yeah.
look, it's a little more nuanced than that. So that's probably a bit of it's a pretty low barrier to entry, right?
Yeah.
It's a really
Bummer.
it's a painfully low barrier to become a coach, and I wish that there was, like, some sort of rule reg out there
Yeah.
to hold people to a higher standard and that you could more easily report coaches who are doing the wrong thing. But there's not
Mhm.
you're in Canada, we're in the US, but I don't think across either of our countries do we have like anything to really deal with this person has completely taken advantage of me because um
Yeah.
There's no recourse. I mean, there's no recourse if they were certified, with an organization. But then I think if you've gone to all that effort to certify yourself, are you really going to be that jerk that doesn't
Right.
perform ethically? Probably not, right? I mean, that's why I think it's really imperative that you check testimonials or even referrals from people that you know. So
Mhm.
if you knew that you had used a business, oh, tell me about your experience with that business coach because that might be a good fit for me. Or, I think you have to unfortunately do your own legwork to really make sure that your due diligence, right? That you're
Yeah.
Yeah.
doing the work out there. So
Sure.
yeah, it's hard.
Well, if somebody thinks, you sound like the coach for them, how do they reach out to you? How do they get in touch?
Come and visit me on LinkedIn. It's
Okay.
all there. Or you can see my website, annaludwinowski.com. But yeah, just look up Anna Ludwinowski on LinkedIn's usually the easiest. And then we can go from there.
And we'll have the spelling of that name
Oh, yeah,
somewhere,
yeah, yeah.
right?
We'll have your
Okay.
name, we'll have your links. Anna, thank you so much for coming on today. This is a super interesting discussion.
Yeah.
And
Pleasure to talk to you
yeah,
for
awesome
sure.
to talk to you. You're really fun. This is a great interview to do. You're kicking off our morning with an interview. So thank you for the high energy and the great answers.
Oh, well, thank you. Happy to come back anytime. This was awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
Thanks.
Wonderful.
Thanks,
All
Anna.
right. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Okay. Bye bye.